Yes, my sports to the bone family. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Another live show, another live show. Welcome back to the channel, my people. Thank you all for checking this live out. First things first, apologies for coming on late. Initially I had indicated that we would have, the plan was to start at 7:30. But I am just returning from a little family outing, so I am home. Took the family out for a little Sunday evening thing. So I am here, and I know that you guys have a lot on your minds. So we're gonna be talking West Indies Championship. Uh, I don't know. We're gonna be talking West Indies Championship. Guyana Harpy Eagles, they are champions, retaining their title. They drew their game against Trinidad and Tobago Red Force yesterday, therefore walking away with the title. So we're going to be talking all of that. That game brought a lot of excitement. I tell you, people are still talking about all of that. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to talk about that. Plus, West Indies, we're still awaiting Darren Sammy and his team as I don't know if they are considering who to appoint, but we're still waiting on them to appoint the test captain. You see me shuffling and looking all over the place, my people. I'm trying to get this thing right. It's a bit dark, it seems. But just let me know if you're hearing me properly and you can see me. So we'll get into it. All right, so West Indies Championship 2025. Guyana Harpy Eagles, as I said earlier, walking away with the title. Barbados Pride, they ended up second. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force coming in third. Let me just give you a quick little thing on the points table. So Guyana Harpy Eagles, they finished first, 126 points, 126.6. Barbados Pride, 121.2. Red Force, 111. Hurricanes, 98.5. Scorpions, 86.4. West Indies Academy, 62. And the bottom two, combined campuses and colleges, 58.4. Winner Islands Volcanoes, 55. And obviously all teams played 7 games. So that's how it's looking at the end of all those games. All right, so let's get into the meat of the matter now. We have a couple of people already on. You all can let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are, overall as it relates to the championship. What are your thoughts coming out of especially that game between Harpy Eagles and Red Force? If I look in the comment section of the video that I posted this morning, even the 2 videos that I posted yesterday, the dominant theme is that something shady went on in the last game there in that game between those 2 teams. So if you have any opinion on that, you can go ahead and share, and I will definitely read and give my thoughts on it also. But all in all, my viewers and subscribers, I must say that the West Indies Championship 2025, it wasn't too bad. You understand? We had a couple of I wouldn't say new players, but players who are not generally known for scoring a lot of runs or picking up wickets. They chipped in from time to time throughout the season and helped their team. So there are definitely a couple of youngsters that it was they did some work in this championship here. So I mean, after the end of the championship, are you guys any closer in terms of deciding who you all want to become the captain of the test team? Were you all waiting on the championship to get to finish to decide who to work with, or you guys already have somebody in mind who is not necessarily taking part in the who wasn't necessarily taking part in the championship? All right, Sheldon is already on, and Lee. Sheldon say good night all. Bless up, Sheldon. Bless up. Good evening. Just leaving work. The right time you come on. All right, Lee. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up. All right, Sheldon says Guyana let themselves down by cheating, and apparently they were on watch, having been suspected before. So this is my situation now. This is my thing. Personally, I believe that Harpy Eagles, they are a good enough team to not have to do anything like that to get across the line. If it is the case that they felt that they needed to change the condition of the ball, I totally disagree with that happening. You understand? You all know how we do it over here. Whenever a team or a player deserves to get highlighted, we are going to do it. But when them do if they do any sort of foolishness, we're going to call it out. I was having a discussion with someone in the comment section yesterday, and they were asking if it's not the same thing. They were asking if it's not the same thing if somebody use saliva, when somebody used saliva. And I had to remind the person, listen, it was from 2020 that they decided not to, I think it was 2020 when we were going through the COVID thing. They decided not to use saliva anymore to shine the ball. So, you know, they can't use that. But I know that you can wipe your bro, wipe, and you know, wipe the sweat and use to shine the ball. So that is why I was a bit hesitant to really, when I heard it at first, I was a bit hesitant to really go down into it and say yes, they were using something from their hair to apply to the ball. Because I know that you can wipe here, wipe and get the sweat to shine the ball. So I wasn't sure. But then when CWI came out and issued their thing and said, listen, the two players accepted the charge. You understand? I was like, well, is either they know that they did it and it's on camera. Because, you know, if you know that you didn't do something like that, you can easily tell them to go back and look at the camera instead of accepting it. You know, I have seen where Harpy Eagles fans, a couple of them are saying that it is because the players don't want the long thing. They just want to get it over with. So they just accept it. I don't really see that. You know, I don't think that, you know, with video evidence, you know, knowing that they can easily go back and look to see what was happening, I don't think they're just going to accept that and, you know, let somebody tarnish their name like that. You know, if they know that the tape would show that they're just wiping here to get sweat. You understand? I don't know. So people that are saying that they just accepted it because they want it to drag out and to carry on. I don't know if people would allow that, you know, and let something like that be beside their name. You understand? I can't see through it. You understand? I don't know if it's because it's not my team why I can see it so clearly, or I can look at it without emotional attachment. Personally, we do that. As I said, I think they are good enough. It's a good enough team to play and win without not having to do anything like that. You understand? So I don't know. I think it was 90% and 65%. Whatever of their match fee was removed. It's not even the case that they had to lose the match fee. It's the fact that something like that will be beside their name. That why I can't see a player just say let us accept it and move on because we don't want it to drag on. You could easily say no man. I was wiping the sweat and applying it to the ball. Go back and watch the camera and look at it. You know, they could easily well do that. So you know, it's sad. It's sad, and I mean, fans are going to say let us move on from it, but we don't want that in our culture. We don't want to become known for that. You understand? A lot of us growing up and watching cricket, you know, a team like Australia, we respect them as a cricketing nation. We still move on from this topic, but we respect them as a cricketing nation. We respect their players, even though we have, well, I can't say we have a rivalry because it's, you know, we're not producing players to match up to them, but we respect their players based on what they would have done over the years. Steve Smith and you know, a couple of those guys, that is something that's always going to be beside their name, the incident that they were involved in. You understand? That is something that's going to be beside their name. So that is not what we want our cricket to be known for. You know, we don't want that in our cricket. And it might feel a little bit ticklish to the Harpy Eagles supporters that we're talking about this, but just like any other thing, I always tell people, you know, you might come onto this channel and you hear me shouting out your play and giving them props and saying, well done, this, that, and you're all like, oh, this is the channel to follow. This is the channel to follow. But then you might get knocked because once they slip, we are going to highlight it because we don't believe in them sort of foolishness. So that is my stance on it. So for those who didn't get a chance to see what I said yesterday, that is my stance on it. So as we go along, I know people will probably come on and want have their opinion, and I will obviously talk about it a bit more. Sports to the Bone, what is your standout 11 from this year championship? I actually have a plan to put one together, though. I have a plan to put one together. Hopefully tomorrow. Last night I didn't have the time to do it. Today was out of it. Spent most of my morning watching football. Manchester United lose as usual. Then I was on the road for a good bit. So hopefully tomorrow during my probably lunch or break or sometime like that at work, I can put something together. But I definitely going to be putting it out there. Was much improved, but murdered by controversy. Controversy. Yep. Definitely. They had some fantastic comebacks early in the season. Yeah. That is the thing, That is the thing. As I said, we like when teams when teams are competitive. We like the friend. I think I say friendly rivalry, but we like the rivalry to the extent where they can banter each other on the field, play. But I believe in winning. I love to win, but I don't subscribe to winning at all costs. You understand? I do not subscribe to that. I like some of these players, and the funny thing about it, one of the player that was charged, if you watch this channel, you would realize that this is somebody that I have been highlighting for almost a year and a half now, saying that he's probably next in line and I want him to really perform. So it's really sad to see something like that happening, But moving on from that for a little bit, I want to say a shout out to a few of the senior players who were probably not at the front of our minds coming into this championship, but they did some work. Right? In terms of batting, John Campbell is a man that we remember when he was dropped from the West Indies team because of lack of form. We still want to see him at the international level to see if he still has the problem, with that ball outside the half stump, especially the moving ball. But we have to say shout out to him for coming back after his ban was reduced. Shout out to him for coming back and being able to hit the ground running, scoring some runs. You understand? I don't have the stats on me right now. I'm gonna have to look into it either tomorrow or pretty soon. But I'm almost sure he's up there in terms of run scoring. Just thinking about it, I would think he's probably top 3. You understand? I know for a fact that Jason Mohammed is probably up there. Joshua De Silva had some runs also, and I know John Campbell is probably there. He's probably second. Jonathan Drakes. You understand? There are players there that they have scored some runs. So I want to say a shout out to him. We also saw the lights of Shea Hope making a return to the red ball scene. Didn't last too long. As we speak, he's taking part in the Pakistan Super League. So Jason Holder also indicated that he was going to make himself available because he's looking to get back into the West Indies Test team. He's also taking part in the PSL. Didn't finish off the season, so they made a return. I guess they are showing that they want to play. But I would say that we have a couple of youngsters coming through that they performed well in the championship that we might need to give them a look. I saw one report that one of the person used the spikes on his shoes on the ball. So this one I can't even really say. I saw somebody comment this in the comment section, but what I would say is that it's very it's a whole lot of time you're going to see players chasing the ball to defense, you understand, and stepping on the ball to stop it. You understand? Obviously, you don't want them to intentionally use the spikes or anything. So, that one wasn't investigated and reported. So, and reported. I didn't see it, so I can't really go down into that. I don't want to seem as if I'm smearing them. So something like that, I can't really comment on that, because several times we have seen players chasing down the ball and having to just step on it to stop it. Obviously, you don't want to intentionally use the spikes on it or anything, but we have seen stuff like that. All right, I see we have a couple of good-looking pace bowlers coming through. With a few months clinic with Ambrose and Bravo, we might get a good crop. Yeah, we have a couple of them coming through. We have Jediah Blades, didn't look too bad. Joshua James from Trinidad, he doesn't look too bad. I think he's probably gonna have to work on his fitness a little bit, but he didn't look bad throughout the championship. There are a couple more. I think Pittman. There are a few of them bowling with good pace. Probably the name slipping me right now. But that is the thing, Sammy, you're highlighting. Bravo camps with Ambrose and Bravo. Is it likely though? Is it likely that these guys will be involved? I mean, probably Sir Curtly Ambrose, yes. We have seen him working with the guys, but I don't know if Bravo and those guys are on the best of terms right now. You understand? But as you rightly said, if we can have some of the people that have the know-how to work with these guys, that would be good. The thing now is I'm gonna have to look at the players that are going to be taking part in the Rising T20 league that they have going on. The problem now is we don't want most of these players to just start going off playing T20, T10 teams. Even though it is 4-day championship, teams would have spotted some of these players and they're like, we can give them a look in terms of seeing what they have where T20 cricket is concerned. So that might be a problem. It was the same thing when O'Shane Thomas came through. We saw him in the CP. We saw him doing his thing. Then he got into the CPL, performed well in the CPL, and then it was mostly T20. So that is definitely something that we have to be careful of. In light of this of the Guyana ball tampering scandal, what does this mean for the future of Imla captaincy of the West Indies team? This thing happened under his leadership. So that is the thing. If he was being considered, we don't know if he's been considered. A lot of us were saying that he's probably in the running, but we don't know. We don't know if he's been considered. But that is definitely something that would go against his name. You understand? We are not outrightly saying that he would have said to them, go ahead and do this. But when you're leading a team, it's almost like the army. You understand? If you are in charge and something happens under your watch, you are the one that's going to be held accountable. So something like that definitely doesn't. It's not doing anything good for him. You understand? Top 5 scorers of the CWI championship: Jason Mohammed, Da Silva, Anderson, Hamilton, and Paris. Really? And somewhere in the back of my mind, I thought Campbell was there. But these names, I remember Paris getting some runs, but I wasn't aware that he got so many runs. I remember Hamilton scoring a couple of half centuries also. I'm gonna look into it tomorrow though. Sports to the bone. Blessings. Thanks for your coverage. Do you think it's a chronic thing with the Guyana team? I mean, we have seen it before. I think this is the first time the players are accepting it. If my memory serves me right, I'm trying to remember if it was the light incident that was the last thing. But that was under different circumstance, right? That was franchise cricket, but what we have to look into is speculations and acceptance. Some of the times fans, we might speculate that this is what they are trying to do, this is what they are doing. What we have witnessed is the fact that, listen, they accepted the charges and they're like, yes. And I mean, as I said earlier, if you are just coming on, as I said earlier, I doubt you would have players that want to play at the international level being okay with that being beside their name, just to not have it go on. I doubt a player would say, listen, we don't want this issues to continue. So let's just accept it and move on. Let's accept so we did it. No, they can say, listen, go back and watch the footage. I didn't do anything. I just wipe here to get some sweat to rub on the bar, which is fine. You understand? So I don't know. In the age of cameras and all of that, I don't know why a player would accept something like that and say, let's just accept it and move on if they weren't. Mhm. So that is the thing. We have heard people accusing this team of stuff like that, but I don't like to just pull everything together. You understand? As I said, I think that the last thing, if my memory serves me right, it was franchise cricket. Quite a few of the players weren't involved. Some might say administration and those guys are involved, yes. But this one, we definitely have players accepting the wrong. So it's not like it's heresy or anything. I think the next test squad selection is going to be very interesting because a lot of spots isn't okay. I agree. I don't think this beginner, bad luck. What's that again? What's that? Top five bowlers: Kyrie Pierre, Joshua Bishop, Versama Pramal, Jamar Wallerkan, Ali Mohammed. Yeah, that sounds right. I'm going to look into it, but based on and what fact that I have been looking at the scorecards throughout the season, this sort of sounds right. Our bowlers for the most part locked up but for batting is toss up. Okay, yeah, definitely. The two Josephs, Jaden Seals, Kemar Roach, and obviously we are still we don't know if it's going to be Justin Greaves, Matthew Ford maybe, and the spinners. The bowling is not a problem for us. We have guys that can take 20 wickets. The problem is the batting. Colin says, sports to the bone. Good night. Bless up, man. Congratulations to Guyana cricket team for winning the regional championship. Sorry for what happened during the game. The players are already penalized for the action. Yeah, man, we already spoke about it even yesterday that they were penalized for it. But obviously discussion is going to be had where this is concerned. This is something. Some people feel that that the match fee isn't big enough because changing the condition of the ball is probably giving an advantage that can decide the outcome of a game. So fans are going to still feel some kind of way about it. But yeah, man, we acknowledge that they won the title and all, but this is definitely something that we will discuss. We don't want it to happen. We don't want this to creep in our cricket. The new talent coming through need an A-team call up first. I want them to avoid calling guys up to test straight away and fail. And Ash, that is the thing, I think it was probably a week or two ago I did a video and I was talking about it that, it's twofold because right now we have players that we are saying that, we would want him to play some A team, some A tours, get them playing some cricket before we get them in the test team. Because once they get to the test team, it's the highest level of bowling they're going to be facing, especially talking about the batsmen. It's the highest level of bowling they're going to be facing. And it might be a case where they can't manage it, you understand, or they don't adapt to that yet because they just move from regional to there. And then we have to look at it on the flip side also. We do have a lot of a lot of A tours. We have guys that are not performing. And then when you drop them, you tell them to go to the championship to perform. So when guys in the championship performing, they might wonder how is it that they still can't get into the team when you drop a man from the test team to the championship to perform and then so they can earn their way back. So I totally agree. I totally understand what you're saying. I definitely understand what you're saying that, especially some of the guys that we have spoken about, people like Anderson, people like Joel and Joe. You understand? Some of these guys, they have the talent, they have the skills, but to expose them straight away to the best that the world has to offer, when it comes down to test cricket, it might be difficult. You understand? It might be very difficult. That is what happened with Mikel Louis. I mean, he's probably still going to get some more opportunities, but last year he top scored, got the opportunity, looked good in a couple of the games, but for the most part, he hasn't really figured out how to move from 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 and continue up. You understand? Alec Arthanes looked good in the championship. We called him up, and you know, he hasn't hit the ground as we would have liked. So I definitely understand what you're saying. Also, I feel like Kyle Mears need another go in the test team. He's all round. He played a couple of good knocks. He played a couple of good knocks this season. Bowl a couple of overs also. But my problem is, I said this earlier, that I don't want us to go back to the stage where we are packing the test team up with all-rounders. You understand? I've always said that I have time for 2-3 all-rounders, yes, but they need to be able to they have to be able to make the team as an out-and-out batsman or an out-and-out bowler if we're going to be doing it like that. Why? Sorry, my people. I might see me rubbing the eyes a little bit. There's a lot of pollen outside right now, so you know, there's a lot of pollen outside right now, so you know, sometimes my eye will tear up or get itchy. Yeah. So as I was saying, I can understand people wanting utility players, but I don't want us to get back to the stage where we have 3-4 all-rounders in the team. You understand? If we're going to pick Kyle Mears, is he getting in as a specialist batsman? Is he getting in as a specialist bowler? Or if you're going to work with him as an all-rounder, does that mean that Justin Graves doesn't make the team? Does that mean Matthew Ford, if they're considering him, doesn't get in? Does that mean that if we're doing a spinner, the spinner is making the team as a spinner? Because if we play, for example, Chase, then people will be looking at him as a all-rounder and then probably play another specialist spinner. I mean, and play a specialist spinner. I mean, it depends on where we're playing. But if you understand what I mean, I don't want it to be a case where we bring him in the team, have him batting at number 4 or 5, and then, you know, if he's not scoring the runs that a number 4 or 5 should score, we say that he will chip in with the ball. We don't necessarily need people to chip in with the ball right now. We have seamers that they will do the work. That is the thing, you know, we have the bowling lineup. So if we have a batsman that he's scoring runs and we know that he can bowl, then we can work with it. But we don't need to look and say, you know, we're going to drop an out-and-out bowler because we have a man that, you know, he might give us some runs and might give us some wickets. You know, we did that for quite a bit. And it's just since recent we have started to move away from that. And I mean, you might look at 1 or 2 teams and you might say they have a couple of all-rounders. But if you look at the averages, you'll see that they have a good average bowling and they have good average with the bat. So they can actually get into the team. Now, I have said this before that even though, you know, I am looking at it like this, I understand that it might be a case where some of the all-rounders, they outperform the specialist batsmen with the bat and outperform some of the specialist bowlers with the ball. But that's not the case with our cricket right now. The bowlers are totally locked in. You understand? We don't necessarily need to go digging and searching for people and so they can bat at number 4 or 5 and then score some help with the bowling, you know? If you understand what I mean. I like Kyle Mears. I like those type of players that will go on the front foot and look to press on and look to score runs. But at the same time, I want to hold my batsmen accountable. If you're batting in the top 5, top 6, I want to be able to say, listen to me. Top 5 especially, I want to be able to say, listen to me. This is what you are supposed to do with the bat. You didn't do that, you didn't do the job. You understand? You can help with the ball, yes, but you know, we need to be able to hold players accountable, you know? All right. Bless up, Francis. Sheldon asking if we should just move on from the guy, and I think. Bless up, Rose. Bless up. Yeah, after I brought up Mayers, I realized there's a lot of all-rounders ahead of him right now. Yeah, man, that is the thing. And I get where you're coming from, because Kyle Mayers is one of them players. He will show intent. And that is what especially Samuel will want. But at the same time, you know, Justin Graves is probably still there. He didn't perform too badly in that game that we won against Australia. And then he got injured, you know, came back, got injured, and, you know, we see him finish off the championship. Matthew Ford, we're trying to bring him in from just the white ball. We know he's good in T20 and we try him in ODI and thing, but, I think he has the ability. I think he's fit. So if we can work on his bowling to get him to bowl some overs. And it would be nice if that all-rounder that we are thinking of is somebody that can take wickets for a good period of time. You need a bowler that can contain, and that is what Jason Hall has been doing for years. So it would be nice if we have an all-rounder coming in that can actually pick up some wickets. I agree with your perspective concerning all-rounders. Yeah, that is the thing, man. I like all-rounders. But for Test cricket, man, you have, I just believe that you have to be careful. Thank you for analysis about our cricket in the region. You are a fair person, not biased. We agree and disagree. Sports to the bone. You have no emotions and you are on point most of the time. I enjoy your program. Yeah, man. Thanks for the support. As I said, obviously I'm from Jamaica. It would be nice to have Jamaica winning the regional championship, winning 4-day, winning this, winning that. It would be nice to have that. But my end game is West Indies cricket. That is my end game, and that is why I can't remember this with Test cricket, but that is why for a couple of years when we had, for example, 8, 9 Trinidad and Tobago players in the T20 team, I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem because they were the best that we had, and we won games with them, won World Cups and stuff. So it's the same thing with the red ball cricket. We just have to look at it. Some might say it's called West Indies cricket, so you need representative from everywhere, from all islands. And I say, go. You need the best 15 players. If it's a 15-man squad, you need the best 15 players to represent the place. You understand? For example, Jamaica. If we are going to run at Olympics and we don't have people representing the 14 parishes, you get the best runners in the country to go and run. You understand? Guyana, my geography isn't good, but Guyana, wherever you don't look and say, let's get somebody from Esquivo, let's get somebody from Unity, let's get somebody from Berbice. And I said that when you're going out to play it, you pick the best people that can represent Guyana to win. You understand? The same thing with Trinidad, Barbados, wherever, Grenada, you pick the best people. So that is it with the championship. You understand? It's unfortunate that my team, my country, we're not performing well right now. You understand? But you have to call it what it is. I didn't witness West Indies performing back in the 80s and 70s, You understand? I didn't witness any winning team. The closest I can remember, apart from the 2 T20 World Cups that we won, was ICC Champions Trophy in 2004. At that time, I was in like grade 4 at primary school. So I need the best players from the region to play cricket and win. That is what I want, So it's very easy. After following the championship or batting is weak. I mean, they didn't set the world alight, but I must say that quite a few, we have seen quite a few more centuries. So some might say it has to do with, it's because of the pitches and all, but I think that, especially in the early part of the middle part of the championship, we saw more centurions. You understand, guys coming in and holding their hands up. Nobody totally did anything out of the just blew us out of the water. Probably just Jason Mohammed, who we know he has been there for a while, but if we're looking at the youngsters coming in, probably just Jonathan Drakes. I'm going to have to look at the amount of runs that he has scored on his average, but just thinking of it, you understand, in terms of surprises, he's probably the one that surprised me the most. You understand? I was happy to see Joel Andrews scoring quite a few half centuries, but I think Jonathan Drakes was the one that surprised me the most in this championship. Should we pay closer attention to Shakir Paris? I feel like he's a player that went under the radar. He's actually a good player, remember, I don't want to say opens because I doubt he's still doing it, but up to a couple seasons ago, he was opening for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force in the T20 in the CPL. You understand? He was opening in the CPL. So it's good to see that he's performing in the championship. You understand? I would definitely have to take a look to see what the overall numbers are, but he has done some work. I have seen him in the CPL, and I know that he has talent. I know that he has talent. Yeah, man. I could see Ford having DJ Bravo, and Afik on the squad, or Ifek on the squad. Yeah, it's just that we want him to play more. And understand that is why I'm saying he might be one of those that Sammy, will be looking for. But if we can have that all rounder that will try things, you understand, and thing like that, that would be good. Mhm. Especially opening. Oh, you're saying that the batsman. Okay. Yeah. Mhm. I agree with Paris. He and Andrew and Anderson should be fast tracked to the senior team. That is the thing that someone was mentioning earlier about fast tracking them without getting a lot more experience. West Indies A would be another step up before you go to international cricket. Um, but the problem is we don't have a lot of those games. I think we have a West Indies A tour coming up, so I think those guys will be a part of it. Probably Sammy will want to use the ones that he's really and truly looking forward to bringing in. You want to get them in there, so Mhm. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4 all-rounders in the test team, but they have to be genuine all-rounders, like guys in the past, like Gary Sobers. Yeah, they have to be genuine all-rounders that are good. You understand? You can be genuine all-rounders, we're good with bat and ball, but you have to be able to make the team. My example that I always use is if I'm going to have 2, 3, 4 all-rounders in the team, as I say, like Sober or Jack Callis. You understand? Or if you bring an X factor like a Ben Stokes and them kind of all-rounders, that is how I have time for you. You understand? I want my specialist batsmen, so when them do the foolishness, I can say, you see, Uno, you guys, the top 5, you need to score runs, wicket keep, and then all round or whatever, and then I can highlight the bowlers. But when you have bits and pieces players, you're like, oh, you make a 20, you make a 20 from 50 balls, and it's gonna give us a wicket or 2 wickets. Test cricket 20, we don't work with that. You need to score. You need to score a lot of runs. Understand? But you are right though. If we have good all-rounders, I have no problem with them getting in. You understand? Because that would be beneficial to the team. But I don't know if we have those guys performing like that to really and truly get some a couple of them in the team. So we definitely need to be careful with that. Yeah, we definitely need to be careful with that. Yeah. So that is thing that we need to be careful with. So we have looked at the batting a bit. The bowling. What about the bowling? I mean, we spoke about a couple of the young pacers coming through. The spin. What about the spin? How impressed were you guys with Kyrie Pierre? Kyrie Pierre did pretty well. I mean, somebody that is always doing his job. I feel that this season he has really stepped it up a notch. He didn't look too bad. To be honest with you, my people, I didn't get a chance to see most of the games. From how I do the recordings in the evenings, doing the scorecards, you guys probably will be able to tell because I just read the scorecards without giving any analysis or anything. The games are played when I am busy during the days. So I didn't get a chance to see a lot of the players, but Carey Pierre for sure, he did pretty well. There are a couple of other spinners that didn't do too badly. The usual suspect, the senior guys not doing too bad at all. But there are a couple spinners that came in and didn't look too bad. Jamal Warrican, as we know, you understand, growing in confidence after what he did in Pakistan. So I think the last game there, he took 7 wickets in one inning. So, he's another one that did this thing. It's hard for the A team because they only play before a test match. That's why I would like to see certain talents like Andrew and Anderson getting a fast pass. Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand. If Jason Hola is fit, I think he get back into the team. Sorry, Graves. Mm. I mean he's still a very good all rounder, but I think that I want to try one of the young hungry players right now. I understand. What do you think about Brathwaite performance since his return? Craig Brathwaite, since his return to the championship, I can remember him scoring did he get a century, 1 century, but it has been poor. I would have to go back and look at the numbers, but just off the top of my head, I can't remember him doing anything special. He has been very poor. And as I have always said that, listen, when you're playing at the test level and you step down to play in the championship, we need to be able to identify you as a champion, as a test player. I think the first game back, I think it was the first game back or the second game back, they scored some runs. I think Brathwaite got a century. Django scored some runs. Don't think it was a century, but he got some runs. Joshua De Silva got some runs, and I was saying that, listen, that is what I'm talking about. I think Tevin Imlach got some runs, and I was saying that is what I'm talking about. When you come step down from the test level, we need to be able to look and say, yes, man, this man is a test player. We need to see that you're a notch above, and I don't think that we have seen that. I mean, I didn't get a chance to see a lot of the games, as I said, but just looking at the score, Skip didn't do that at all. He didn't do that. Warwickon is currently West Indies' best spinner. Warwickon has done some good work over the last year or so, so he's definitely performing well. Kemo Paul made quite an impressive return. Oh my gosh, it's really good to see Kemo Paul bowling. It's good to see Kemo Paul bowling and not breaking down. That has been Kemo Paul's problem, man. That has been his issue. His issue. Fitness is, I tell you, he has a good cricketing brain. He has a good brain. He has the ability to bowl fast, and he can handle himself with the bat. He was one of them all-rounders coming through that we're always like, yeah, man. We were probably mostly looking at the white ball game, but he has the ability, but it was really good to see him in this championship bowling and bowling a lot of overs without breaking down, It's been a long time. Hard ball. Hard ball. I think we were on like 2 Sundays ago doing a little bit of chatting and thing. Curry and Bishop. I also good spinner. Yes. Joshua Bishop, he did pretty well again this season. He was good last season also, but this season he also did some good work. Yeah, man, Carey Pierre was the first name I mentioned. Who would you pick as an opener? It look like I am moonwalking going backwards, but I think that they're probably gonna have to give John a look back. They're probably gonna have to give John Campbell a look again in to see how it goes. Jeremiah Louis, not Jeremiah Louis, Michael Louis. I don't want to throw him away because he's young, he has potential. You understand, but he hasn't done the business in a little while. So I am fearing that they might be looking to get him to play some more 4-day championship and try someone else. But I might go with Campbell, man. I am definitely thinking that Campbell can get a look in again. It's just really sad that Craig Brathwaite didn't do much in the championship, because I would want to see him in a couple of games without the test captaincy. You understand? That is the thing. I'm not saying it's going to make any drastic difference or anything like that, but it would be nice to see him, just playing without worrying about the captaincy and the team overall and stuff like that. Obviously, as a senior player, he will still be putting a lot of input there, but not leading the team, it might be a little better for him. Who you think will be the next captain? I know I'm chatting a lot today. Boy, the comment section is there. The comment section is there for you all to type. I will read until the eyes say no more. So this is the thing. I personally believe in process and stages. So I have said it before that I think Joshua De Silva is next in line. And my reason for saying this is the fact that whenever we have a West Indies A team, whenever the West Indies A team is playing, he's usually the one that is leading. You understand? He has been around the test team for a long time and acting as vice captain, now a senior player, is well respected based on what I have heard. Seems as if they believe in him. But the only ticklish situation is the fact that he just lost his place in the series that we played against Pakistan. That has been the ticklish situation. You know, the fact that he just lost his place in the team. One would probably say that he has scored runs at the championship level, so that should get him straight back in the team, and then, you know, he could take the captaincy. But that was my only issue. I'm not saying that he is the man that's going to lead us to the promised land or whatever, but the fact that we're losing Brathwaite as a captain, and Roach is probably not going to want to take that responsibility. Well, I can't talk like I know his mindset, but I'm just thinking about, you know, the pacers that we have coming through and the role that Roach will play. He won't probably play every game, if you understand what I mean. So they probably wouldn't want to look that direction. So that's the only thing with Joshua Da Silva, the fact that they left him out. Now, Tevin Imlach, I like him as a leader. Someone mentioned earlier that the fact that his team, you know, allegedly, well, I don't know if I should even say allegedly, because the players accepted the charges and saying yes, they breached the code. So that might be a little wrong bang beside his name. But the reason I like him as a leader, my problem though is he's not yet settled in the team. He's not yet settled in the team. You understand? So that is my problem. You know, that's my problem. He's just wetting his feet in where international cricket is concerned. So to just put him in and bestow captaincy upon him might be a bit rough. You understand? So that's my thing. Obviously, players will respect him based on what he has done at the regional level. But personally, I wouldn't go down that road, because he's just getting in. He's not even settled in the team. He's not settled in the team. So that is my whole reason for going Joshua Da Silva. I don't think they are looking this way, but one thing could happen. One other thing they could do is probably ask Roach to do the next couple of games. You know, we have two games against Australia, and you know, whoever else we have, they could ask him to do those while whoever they want to name will shadow. Alec Arthur, his name has been called in this thing also. You know, they're calling his name in this. He's a player that I like. I like him, but you know, I just feel that based on the fact that Joshua is established in the team, he's probably next in line. He scored a double century first game back. Yeah, it was the double century then. It was that double century that I was like, yes, man, that is how you should play. That is how you should play as a test player. But, you know, we haven't seen much since. Sports to the Bone, with respect, could you explain to me and your listener audience in your own words, what is the purpose of playing the regional, the 4-day championship, playing the regional 4-day championship? Well, the purpose of playing, you know, is to feed, is to provide players for the West Indies test team. You understand? That is the purpose. The purpose is to keep our cricket going, but the main thing is to produce players for the West Indies test team. One would probably think that's not the case, because a couple months ago they said you don't have to play in the championship to play test, but I think that was just them trying to get people to commit to play test cricket. But yeah, man, the main thing is for them to play test cricket. It's a part of the West Indies. It's a part of CWI's system to keep cricket growing in the region. You understand? This is what players are employed by CWI and their territorial boards. They are contracted, so you know it's a job. It's a business. You understand? You have players playing. You have sponsors bringing in money. You play the players. You get sponsors to pay to keep the business going. But the primary role of the championship, you know, in my opinion, should be to produce players for the test team. That is why you have a hierarchy. You have CWI coming right down. But sometimes you have to think otherwise, because you see players who have decided that they don't want to play test cricket. They have decided that, listen, I'm going to retire from test cricket, and you still see them playing in the regional championship. You understand? So I think that the main thing is for it to be a feeder system. system. That is why CWI, they're at the top of the table. If CWI wasn't at the top of the table and it was just a territorial thing, then you could just say they are just there to try and play against each other at the territorial level. But CWI being at the top of that table, coming down and them being in charge of West Indies cricket, 4-day championship would definitely be to feed players in. That is how I see it. You understand? But sometimes, as I said, you have to look at it differently because you have people that are retired from Test cricket playing in the championships. So I would love to see Jason Mohammed in West Indies colours again because he had a good series, and Silva also, and Blades looks really good pace like that. Yeah, man, we spoke about Judea Blades. We spoke about Judea Blades in the earlier part of the video. Jason Mohammed, some might say that his pass is best, but if they are going off stats and numbers, and they say, listen, we want you to play these couple of games and we'll see where we go from there. Obviously, he's not going to be a part of the long-term future. But, if they do that, you can't even knock them and say, boy, this is, you can't even knock them too tough because, he did the work. Joshua Bishop is also good with the bat. Yep, he definitely can do his thing. Lane, yes, Lane also looked good. Lane looked good. He looked good. So it's quite a few pace bowlers, man. The only thing now is they are bowling fast. The only thing now is the skills. Want them to develop those skills, and that is the thing when they go and start playing a lot of T20 cricket. It kind of disrupt the whole thing. I will put you on the spot here. Which two candidates would you have for Test captain? I have said it several times. Joshua De Silva and Imlak. You understand? There's probably an asterisk beside Imlak's name right now because of what happened. You understand? With his team, and I am mostly leaning towards Da Silva because Imlak, as I said, is not settled in the team. Quite a few people who know the game more than I do, people who have been watching the game before I was even born, for some reason decide that Shea Hope should be the man to captain. We see Joseph Reds Pereira, who is well respected. I think Sir Clive Lloyd came out and said it also, that Shea Hope should be the man to lead the Test team. Personally, I don't believe in it. I like Shea Hope as a player. I will be the first to give him his props for what he has done where ODI cricket is concerned, and the fact that he has transferred his ODI skills to T20 cricket. But I have always said that a man that is so talented, I cannot see how he doesn't transfer that to the red ball game and work out whatever is wrong with his technique to get things right. But I can't see him commanding a spot in the team right now, much as to take up captaincy. That is my problem. So he's a candidate that a lot of people they have called upon. They're calling his name, but personally, I'm not going down that route. Oh yeah, Campbell is the right choice. He bats with enthusiasm. Yeah, he's the one that I am thinking of. Kimo Paul and Odin Smith did well in the tournament, which was nice to see. I don't know if the T20 circuit dried up for them. Nice to see them playing red ball cricket. A couple of them teams probably didn't reach out to them, while some might be trying their luck to get into the Test team. Odin Smith, I saw him in a couple of games. I saw him in a couple of the games. Picked up some wickets. I think it was the game against Trinidad or Barbados or one that he picked up probably 3 or 4 wickets. His thing though, I'm not sure if he gets. He's nowhere near the Test team, but what I'm saying, I'm not too sure how many overs you would be able to get out of him. You understand? And based on how he does his work, he's running off like 6 or 7 steps. And then, most of the work is being done by the upper body. So to ask him to do that for 18, 19 overs in a day, I'm not too sure if he would be able to do that. You understand? As well as he might not be asked to bowl so many. But he was good to see him in the championship. It was good to see him. And, I spoke about Kimo Paul a little earlier. I agree. John Campbell should get a look in. All right. Simmons from Barbados is a nice left arm pace bowler. Raymond Simmons. Early in the championship, I was watching one of the games and I was saying, listen, we should probably, he looks good. He wasn't bowling the right line and length in the game that I was watching, but he just looked good, and I was like, this is a player. And throughout the rest of the championship, he gradually improved, and it's really good to have a left arm bowler bowling in red ball cricket for us. I'm trying to remember the last left arm seamer that we have had playing Test cricket. Somebody can correct me if I'm right, but if I'm wrong, but left arm pace bowler playing quite a few games for us. I can't remember anybody else except Pedro Collins, which was probably from, I don't know, maybe, I don't want to guess, probably from 08, 09, 10, probably somewhere there about. I don't remember when he stopped, but I can't remember our left arm pace bowler bowling in red ball cricket for us. Obviously, we have had Cottrell and them guys bowling in T20 cricket, but in red ball cricket, I cannot remember a left arm bowler after Pedro Collins. You guys can remind me, but he's probably the only one that I can remember. It's only fair for Joshua De Silva as captain and Imlak as vice captain. I think both earned it. I wouldn't go as far as to say both earned it. Probably Joshua De Silva the most, because he has been there and he was vice captain, captain us at West Indies A level, and thing like that. So that is the only thing. Yeah, but John Campbell for a captain, he have experience. I see a couple of people saying that, but I wouldn't go down that route either. I wouldn't go down that direction either with him. Da Silva as captain, he can command a place in the team. Once the ball is swinging, he's a rabbit. All right, DJ, who do you suggest? I totally agree on that. I totally agree that when the ball is swinging, it's an issue. But that is a problem for a lot of our players. He's also the wicketkeeper batsman who mostly comes in at number 6, 7. So that is when most of the batting would have already been done by the by the specialist batsmen. So if we are going to talk about him like that, then we have to talk about the other batsmen. I have said that I have an issue. My problem with Da Silva, I hear people talking about he should be batting like number 4 and 5 and make somebody else keep. My problem is that once the ball is bowling at pace and moving around, he's an LBW candidate every day of the week. I totally understand that. But when we're highlighting Joshua De Silva as a rabbit for that, batting at number 6, 7, I think that we have to hold the other batsmen accountable, seeing that he's our wicketkeeper batsman. He's just a person. Ideally, you need somebody that is that can command a spot, obviously, and is not going to get dropped. That is why I was saying that the only ticklish thing is the fact that he got dropped against Pakistan recently. But that is just me. Who would be your person, DJ? What's your name? DJ Fathead. Who would be your person that can command a spot in the team? Because in my opinion, the only people that can command a spot in this team right now is Jaden Seals, Shamar Joseph, and probably Alzari. You understand? If we're looking at pace and thing. Roach, as we know, there is not going to play every game. I don't know if we have any batsman that can command a spot. You understand? I don't know that, I don't know that. We spoke about Lane. We know you're talking about him. Yes, the team leadership should be Da Silva and Campbell as vice captain. All right. Number 1 is Alex Pot in trouble. I think he was a little underwhelming. 2, if yes, who would you replace with him? I think that this set of young players, Sammy will be working with them for a period of time. I think he's going to give them a go again. You understand? He has his own playing style that he's coming in with. But he's definitely under scrutiny. He's under scrutiny. He hasn't done a lot, similarly to the other batsmen. As I said, there are a couple of players that I have in mind that I want to get a look in, but it's basically the same thing. Alec Arthur he was doing well in the championship until he got to the international level. The same, so it might be the same for the players if they get called up. But I have people like Jonathan Drakes and Kevlin Anderson in mind that I want to probably get a chance. Name me one player in the West Indies team that can play the swinging ball. None. And that is what I'm saying, None of them can play it. And that is why I'm saying that it's really hard to pick on the wicket keeper batsman who bats at 6, 7 sometime and say that he cannot play the swinging ball. It's I think it's really tough. You understand? I think it's really tough to because we have seen him holding things together. I think we have come to expect a lot from him. But if we're being honest, as you said, we can't name anybody that can play the swinging ball. You understand? If we're being honest, a wicketkeeper batting at 6, 7, it's really weird how we overlook the specialist batsmen and go after the wicketkeeper. Carter and Alec position in jeopardy, and Louis. All of them guys. That is why I'm saying I'm not sure what Sammy will do, But all of them, they haven't really performed like that. But they are the players in the region right now based on age and talent that, you think the coach should back them. You understand? The Alec Arthur is the Casey Carty, the Louis, all of these guys, they are talented players. You understand? They are talented. You want to know that the coach is willing to back them. You understand? But as we know, it's a rolling thing where people go and get chop and change all the time, Versus in the test team, I don't know. I don't know if we're going back down Versami's road right now. I think there are probably one or two other spinners that will think that they deserve it. I honestly love Joanne Lane. To be honest, don't have the smoothest run up, but he gets bounce and movement. But is the one to watch. He's good. That is something that they can work on, man. They can work on it. They can work on the run up. You don't want it to stay too long, or else you're gonna become a 28, 29-year-old that still can't bowl in terms of getting everything together. We have 4 phases in bowling, in pace bowling. Now, this is something that we talk about. And if you don't master them at the under 19 level, it's going to be difficult to really get be good at the next level. You understand? You have your run up, you have the gather phase, that is when they jump up and pause with the ball. That's the gather phase. You have the release and the follow through. If you don't master those 4 phases, the run up, the gather, the release, and the follow through, if you don't master those phases, you're obviously not going to be a good fast bowler. You understand? What you will find is you might be good in 3 departments and 1 department is not good, and that might cause a problem. Shannon Gabriel, for example, his problem was I think that he always leaned to the side. So, and plus I'm trying to remember. He had a no ball issue. You understand? He had a no ball issue. He probably had something to do with his run up. O'Shane Thomas, you understand? We see him bowling a lot of time. He pulls out of his run up. A lot of time he steps over, no ball wide. All of them things, you have to have all of that together. You understand? You need to have all of that together to be a good pace bowler. And I've always said that young pace bowlers coming through, if they want to keep it regional, young pace bowlers coming through. I'm not saying that you need to model your action after people, but if you want to have a smooth action and you want to keep it regional, somebody like a Jerome Taylor, you understand? Somebody like a Jerome Taylor, his run up was athletic, it was smooth, his gather phase, he was smooth through the crease. Everything was good. So these are all things that I am hoping coaches that actually know stuff. I might know the theory, but the coaches that they're working with know the theory and the practical and will be able to fix them, one would think. Right? West Indies, that is why I'm saying that, you have to fix these things from the youth level, West Indies have a leadership crisis. The number 1 candidate for a captaincy is Imlak, says Prince. All right. Shane Shillingford. I think he's talking about the left arm. No, man, Shane Shillingford was a spinner. He was a spinner. I was saying that we haven't seen a left arm seamer since Pedro Collins. Shane Shillingford, he was a spinner. Remember, he was even called for throwing. He was called for throwing at one point in time. Had to remodel his action and all of that. No man, Shane Shillingford. Don't remember if he's from Barbados. Don't remember where he's from, but I know for sure he's a spinner. Thanks for your answer and my comments. Bless up, man. Yeah, man. Imlak doesn't command a place in the team, plus the ball tampering disqualifies him. That is something that we have, said about, spoken about. Charles says, if you are picking players based on performance, Jason should be considered. And what do about playing him against South Africa? And what do you about that? Is the thing, if we are picking Jason Mohammed, I don't think that we should put him against. If we are picking him, then you pick him to play a test. You understand? I want the youngsters to get the opportunity to play the South Africa A series. Jason Mohammed has played international cricket before, probably just white ball, obviously, but you understand? If they decide to go with him, then I want as much as possible of the youngsters in the A tour. But if they are picking him, then they need to just play him in the test. Da Silva was also dropped. Yeah, man, that is what we are saying. That is my issue with Da Silva, that he was recently dropped. But Fated, you are highlighting some stuff. So that is why I'm asking you who should get it. Da Silva makes sense, even though I don't like it. I would like Alzari, though, honestly, I think he'll bring something. Yeah, if I had other options, I probably wouldn't go down that route either. But he's a obvious target candidate. Joseph or Hope for captain. You speak about Imlak and players not being able to command a spot in the team. Shea Hope, how does Shea Hope get in the test team? We all know of his quality when it comes on to red white ball cricket and stuff like that, but how does he get in the test team? What is he going to be? Is he going to be a wicketkeeper batsman? Is he going to be a specialist batsman? How does he get into this test team? And Joseph, you said Joseph. I don't know if Joseph has a change of mind, but Joseph recently said that he's not looking into leading, into captaining right now. You understand? He's looking in. He wants to improve his bowling and improve as a player. You understand? Plus, I'm not taking away from your argument with Joseph, but my thing has always been, I don't like my fast bowler captaining. You understand? I think it's too much work, especially if you're the leader of the attack. You're out there putting plans together, working out how to deal with batsmen as a bowler, and then having to deal with captaining, setting the field, doing this, doing that. You understand? That's my problem. One my point towards Pat Cummins and said that he's doing it and he's doing it well, but he has the lights out. He had David Warner before he left, people like Steve Smith, Usman Khawaja, a whole lot of senior players, Mitchell Stark, guys like these, people like Marnus Lamashane that might not be as senior as him, but they have people like these that are established test players that he can lean on. So that has always been my issue with having a pace bowler being the captain. But I hear you though. I hear you. Cricket team is 6 genuine batsmen, a wicket keeper, 4 good bowlers. Not all rounders. Captain is taking. Not all rounders. Captain is taking in that. Yeah, that is what I'm saying. We don't want to pack up the team with a bag of all rounders unless they are all Jack Callis. If a Jack Callis them name, if you're looking at short term for the Australia series, I think we should look at Jason Mohammed. Yeah, I just said that that is probably where they would have to, put him if they want to. It's not tough was dropped for low scores and bad wicket keeping. He was dropped for low scores. Yes, his wicket keeping wasn't the worst. You understand? I know that he was dropped, and we understand that he was dropped and rotated out. I'm saying that it's tough for me to really say out and out, this is why he should get it, because every time I highlight that he has been the West Indies A captain, he has been the vice captain, he is an established test player right now, senior player. Every time I highlight that, I have to couple it with the fact that he was recently dropped. So I definitely understand that. We've seen captain from Jamaica, Barbados, Trinity. When Guyana will have a test captain over 20 years. I don't know if it has anything to do with where they are from. I think it has to do with people rising up and captaining. Tevin Imlach is the likely candidate. Um, is the likely candidate. He would have to establish himself in the team, as I said. Now you're talking about players coming up, and obviously this would seem as if, I don't know if you're saying that they are strategically trying to keep Guyanese away, but I would drag your memory to 2018-19. Shemran Hetmeyer was widely touted as the next man to captain West Indies team. We had high officials in CWI coming out and saying this is the man that they are grooming. This is the player. This is the player that we think has the mindset, wants to play. You understand? Has the ability, and they are grooming him to become the captain. You understand? We see where his red ball cricketer, as we see what's happening with his red ball cricket. You understand? He is into T20 and things like that. Obviously, he didn't get the T20 captaincy. Some people still holding that to their heart and saying that he should be the T20 captain and all of that. But you have to remember that. I can't remember CWI coming out and giving an actual name and say they are grooming this man. They came out and said that Shimran Hetmeyer was being groomed as the next captain. I can't remember them saying that about player from any of the other countries that you just called, Jamaica, Barbados, or Trinidad. I can't remember them saying that about any other player. In the last 20 years, you said, probably not as long-term, but Shivner and Chandopal probably wasn't long-term captain, but captain the team. If my memory serves me right, Ramnarish Sarwan was captain also. In the last 20 years, am I that old that I am being mistaken? I'm almost sure that who was captain in West Indies team after Lara retired in 2007. I'm trying to remember who. 2007, I still can't remember him retiring, but I'm not going to remember off the top of my head who was captaining. I was probably like 12 or 13 at the time, but I can remember Lara retiring. I am almost sure that it was Chandopal or was it Darren Sammy that came in at that time? I don't remember if Darren Sammy came in at that time, but you are saying that you guys haven't had a captain in over 20 years. I don't know why. I don't know why my memory is not vividly, barely showing me, not too clear, showing me Sarwan and Chandopal captaining us for a bit. I could be wrong. You will keep bowling knobs. All right. Whoever gets the captain is getting a broken down house that will tarnish their career. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. Whoever gets it, it's going to be a tough job. Can't give Imla captain. Will he command a place in the team? No, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Shea Hope. You don't answer the Shea Hope question yet. I ask you if Shea Hope command a spot as the wicketkeeper batsman or as a specialist batsman. What does he captain? What does he command a spot as? Mohammed for short term captain against Australia. Says LB. I'm not going down that road at all. You're not serious. We don't even captain Trinidad. He was the captain a couple of years ago until he gave it up. But we're not going down that road at all. Sports Bone. One of our best young bowlers is Gayston. He can move the ball both ways. I didn't actually get a chance to see him, but I think I saw one innings where he picked up like 6 wickets. How quick is he though? Ian Bradshaw from Barbados was the last I could remember as a left arm medium pacer who played up to 2006 in Test and 2007 in ODI. Ian Bradshaw says Colin. Yeah. Was Collymore, did Collymore go on a little bit after Bradshaw or Bradshaw? Bradshaw played. I think Bradshaw played a little later. Yeah, but we haven't produced a lot of them, and it was probably Bradshaw. Hope is the best batsman in the Caribbean, period. And okay, so you're saying that he commands a spot in the test. He commands a spot in the team as a batsman. Then, based on what you're saying. Okay, that is my thing. All he needs to do is just show it. I cannot knock you when I say that Hope is the best batsman. We see what Hope has done in ODI and Test cricket. But if you look at teams at every level, they might have a man that they claim is the best player across for is the best player in their country. But if he's not performing in one particular what name again format, he's not gonna play. So I already explained the Cummins thing. I already explained the Cummins thing. I spent good amount. I probably you made that comment before I explained about Cummins. We have some decent players. My problem with them is their mental toughness, says Dennis. All right. Da Silva is the clear choice, but Campbell is also a good choice. All right. Should we pick developing players and have them tour with the senior side just to get them acclimatized with different and pitches and yeah that sounds good and well, and that is something that we definitely would like. But the problem they're always going to talk about traveling and with too big of a squad in terms of having to pay and money and all of them things. But that is definitely something I know they would do if they have the ability to do it. And we're going to go for a couple more minutes and then we have to run out. I didn't even realize it's after 9. It's a school night, my people. So I have to run out and prepare stuff for work tomorrow. But I'm going to read a couple more comments. What as a captain after that under 19 anywhere in the world? The person didn't say that Hetty should be captaining the test team, though, or anything. He was just saying that boy Barbados, Trinidad, and Jamaica has had their captain, so has gotten chance to captain. So and Guyana hasn't captained in over 20 years. But I'm saying that the man that CWI openly came out and said should be captain, will be captaining. You understand? His career has taken a different turn with his career, so. We shouldn't really do that. Carl Hooper wasn't even Carl Hooper. Didn't Carl Hooper captain for a little while? Has it been 20 years already? Has it been 20 years already? If Sammy is considering T20 players returning to play Test cricket, I think we should consider Pooran once again. I can tell you that the consideration is always there for these players. The players just don't want to play. That is why CWI said to them that, listen, we will consider you if you are performing well in white ball cricket. I think they probably they were trying to sell it till they oversell it. I said, boy, I don't have to play in the championship. I think they were trying to convince them. You understand? Shea is going to bat at number 6, and as wicketkeeper batsman, the shine should be off the ball. Okay. Shandapur was captain in 2006. 2006. What about Sarwan? Well, all right. Pedro Collins wasn't. He left arm pace. Yeah, man. Pedro Collins is the one that I said. Pedro Collins was the last one I could remember about someone. I think it was Collins that reminded me that Ian Bradshaw was also there. Sarwan, who captain back in 2007. All right. Good day, team. I rather a batsman making 50 to 60 runs in 40 to 45 balls than making 20 in 150 to 200 balls then out. It doesn't help the team. It depends on the situation of the game. It depends on the situation of the game, but the ideal thing is to be rotating the strike. The ideal thing is to be rotating the strike. You want to know that players are capable of batting long, seeing off the new ball, and doing stuff like that. But you definitely don't want to have people just doing all of that. And when I think about West Indies, I believe that we have to gamble on that. Therefore, we should gamble with Imlach like South Africa did with Graeme Smith. It will pay off. Graeme Smith was like what 22 when he stepped in and captained. All right, is a whole lot of gambling going on with our team right now. We need an opening batsman who can open with Craig, who doesn't face 100 balls and makes 5 runs. That's another reason I would like John in the team and for the right hand, left hand combination. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Sam will surprise everyone. Probably will. the way that he was talking in the press conference, I know that he already knows who he wants. They were Sammy, and I think I remember it was Sammy and Bascom. They were saying that we have identified a youngster that he's really impressive and he's showing leadership quality. So they know who they want. Knowing Sammy, he's going to put someone to captain that will have everyone's mouth on the floor. Trust me. Boy, at the end of the day, still, I have to give Sammy a little bit of time to do his thing because I didn't agree with the change that he made in the T20 team the other day with the captaincy, but I still have to give him a little leeway to do his thing because for years we were struggling at 8 and 9 and claimed that we were a T20 powerhouse. Sammy came in, took us down to number 2. I think we were 3rd in the ranking when we were playing in the World Cup, and I think we're probably sitting 4th or 5th now. So I have to give him a little bit of time, He won't get everything right, but I have to give him a little bit of leeway. Star One replaced Brian Lara as captain in 2007. That's why I'm thinking that I'm almost sure that Star One and Shiva and them guys captain, but it's been a while since. Shiv captain in between Lara stints. Oh, when Lara, okay. All right. Sports Bone, very nice show. Continue the good work. Yeah, man, DJ Fatid, thanks for the support. We're rounding in on the last couple of comments, and then we're going to have to run out of here. He captained in 2007 when they toured England. Lara retired after the 2007 World Cup. Remember it bright as day, man. Remember it bright as day when Lara got run out in his final game. All right. This captain will be Raston Chase, says Taylor. Raston Chase in. All right. So what are we playing? This is my final question. What are we playing Raston Chase as if he comes in as a captain? Is he our frontline spinner or is he our specialist batsman who can bowl, spin, or is he going to be the man playing that all-round spot? If he's the captain, remember you can't rotate him out and said, let's bring a specialist spinner in. Let's bring a specialist batsman. What is he going to play as? That's my question. Shanda Park with captaincy and Saran took over. All right. Oh, you guys know that. People just guessing and speculating the captaincy, man. You're right. Sammy already chose his test captain. Just ain't make it public yet. That person has to be able to fit Sammy brand of cricket. Yeah, Sammy don't know who he wants already, man. I think he's probably going to go with a youngster. Remember when Sundry was cussing Sammy appointment to replace Simmons? Yeah, I totally remember. And he has done some good work. I was one of them that was saying that we probably should have given the Ambrose Shandopal duo a looking, seeing that they had done so well in I think it was consecutive CPLs. I was saying that we probably. I was even saying that even if they didn't give them one of them outright the coach, we should probably have them on board as batting coach and bowling coach, But I don't know if it's a case where they don't want Sir Kirtley as a coach, because a couple years ago, it's not that he doesn't want to coach. A couple of years ago, the man applied for the elite pace bowling coach job in England, didn't get through, and we see he's doing a lot of commentary work and stuff. So I know that he wants to coach, and he have said openly that he wants to coach West Indies. So I don't know. I think this is going to be the last comment, and then we're going to run out of here. Paul didn't get replaced because of leadership. It's because of him making the final 11. All right, I hear you. All right, we're going to leave it right here for all my viewers and subscribers. Thank you all for coming in and having a chat. We'll definitely be touching base again soon, hopefully. But we're going to leave it right here. Thank you all for the support. If you are new and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. That is the only thing we ask for over here. We don't ask for donations. We don't ask for payments. Just subscribe. When you subscribe, YouTube will promote the channel more, so we can have more people coming in and seeing what's happening. So that is it, my people. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the questions. Hopefully I was able to give answers that made sense to some of the questions. But we're going to leave it right there. Thank you for the support, my people. Big up on yourself. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday. And stay safe, everybody. Bless up.